All right, so we're joined from Nashville by the 2019 Velma Jackson Valedictorian member of the Velma Jackson Hall of Fame, former Falcon uh, football star, and also played a little basketball and baseball. Mississippi State graduate, Kappa Alpha Psi member, Justin Kelly. Thank you so much for taking some time for us. I've got a room full here with me for our senior Falcon time, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you for taking some time out of your schedule for us today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So obviously, we want to talk about your experience at Mississippi State, your MPHC experience, your career experience. But first, take us through your experience at Velma Jackson because you were sitting in the same room that I have them in right now, not that long ago.
Yeah.
And you were a member of TSA. You played football. You played basketball. You played baseball. You were involved in a lot of things, but you still were very committed to your academics, and you used that to get a lot of scholarships to go to Mississippi State. So talk about that experience at Velma Jackson.
Yeah, man. That experience at Velma Jackson really laid the foundation for where I'm at in life right now. I developed my work ethic at Velma Jackson, like balancing sports and balancing academics translated over to balancing being in a fraternity and like balancing being an engineer at Mississippi State. So yeah. So being at Velma Jackson like really laid the foundation to like my work ethic. I developed study habits, work ethic, and just being like an all around student at Velma Jackson. Also, I use that time to like develop a work ethic not only to like for academics but outside of academic, with like going above and beyond to like get scholarships and things like that because I knew that at some point in time I wasn't gonna have like the close family ties that I had at Velma Jackson. Like, well, it was a big family and everybody knew each other, so I knew like at some point I was gonna have to start like going to get things on my own. So that's why I developed that time and used that time to like go out and get scholarships on my own that was not tied to the school or not tied to Mississippi State and branch out. So yeah, so being at Velma Jackson and having that small family there it definitely like laid the groundwork for like my work ethic and foundation.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned about you started finding scholarships because they want to roll their eyes. And look, I know they get sick of me, but they want to roll their eyes and we're asking, have you taken care of this? Have you taken care of this? When you go to Mississippi State or wherever you go to school, you don't just go knock on the door and say, hey, I'm here. There's a
Oh
lot
no.
of paperwork that has to be done. There's a lot of deadlines that have to be given. And it's not deadlines that I'm setting or the school setting. These are things that the federal government sets, the state government sets. And then these scholarships have very strict deadlines. So
Yeah.
talk about the importance of taking care of that because we fuss at them, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to get them to find as much money as possible to get to where they want to go. So talk about those scholarships that you found and the process for that.
Yeah, so I started looking up scholarships probably like my sophomore junior year because I knew like soon as senior year came, like those scholarships opened up, especially like for incoming seniors to university and also for outside scholarships through organizations. So I was afforded the opportunity to win the Jackson Rotary Club scholarship, which is like one of the biggest scholarships in Mississippi, and it covers a lot through the Jackson Rotary Club. So just like going out and just doing your research online, because like a lot of scholarships they post them online. So you just type in scholarships for Mississippi State students or scholarships for Mississippi high school students. A lot of things will come up, not only just in the state of Mississippi, but like it'll be scholarships just for your specific major that you're aspiring to, like to go through at Mississippi State or in other college. So just like having that will to go out and look for those scholarships is what's going to be the biggest thing because money is hard to come by in college. It's not nobody just not going to hand you your full tuition. You got to go out and earn it, or you got to put in the effort to get those scholarships.
Yeah, and our friend Coach Martin, every year he texts me saying, "Do you have anybody looking to apply for this? We have money we're trying to give away."
Oh
So
yeah,
there is so much unclaimed scholarship money, and a lot of it is because people say, "I don't want to write an essay." Well, I think
yeah,
I could write an essay for a few $1,000s.
yeah. Yeah, I wrote plenty of essays. At one point, I was going to Miss Brown, who was my English teacher. I was going to her probably about every other week, having her critique an essay that I was working for a scholarship. At some point, like you have to get the thought out of your mind that I'm just writing an essay for nothing. You have to get into your mind that I'm writing this essay to possibly obtain some money that's going to help me develop in the future. So that was my
Awesome. Now,
mindset.
Now let's talk about when you got to Mississippi State. You got there unfortunately during the COVID year, but
Yeah.
once everything started getting back to normal, you really had a great college experience. And
Oh,
I know at least 6 or 7 in here with me that are either already enrolled or are already accepted, already getting everything going, and want to go to Mississippi State, even if they want to go there after junior college. So, talk about your experience at Mississippi State because obviously it's a great place, great school. We've had several alums go there, but it's not like Velma Jackson. I mean, you're talking
yeah.
about 20,000 students and I tell this all the time about, and you heard me say this when I was at Southern Miss. I went to Madison Central. I had 500 people in my graduating class, so I was used to the big school. But it's still easy to get lost in the shuffle. So
Yeah.
I was in a class at Southern Miss with 300 people, and a guy I had literally known my entire life was in the class. I didn't even know he was in there until the last day. So it is
Yeah.
that easy to get lost. Now, granted, I'm an idiot, so it's easy for me to miss stuff, but that's just an example of how
Yeah.
big the place really is. So, talk about that transition from Velma Jackson to Mississippi State.
Yeah, so Mississippi State was a real shell shock and eye opener. Like coming from Velma Jackson, where I was like, I graduated valedictorian of Velma Jackson, so going there and then like getting the eye opening experience, and that was just coming from a big fish in a little pond to like a small fish in a gigantic in the Atlantic Ocean or something like that was like real shell shock. I didn't have like the close family ties anymore. I had to try to develop a new family. So just like going from this, like enjoy this small environment right now that you have at Velma Jackson and take it in and use all the resources that you have because like once you go to the bigger university, it's gonna be like a real shell shock for you. You're gonna have to get adjusted to meet new people. You're gonna have to get adjusted to having a new lifestyle. It's not gonna be small town Camden or Farm Haven anymore. You're gonna be like trying to thrive in a busy college town in college environment. So yeah. But once I got to Mississippi State, yeah, it was a great college experience.
Yeah, and the thing is, you have to learn how to manage time. You don't have people waking you up. The professors, if unless it's one of your small major classes, they may not even know who you are. So you
Yeah.
have to get your name out there. And most of these kids that are here with me have done my presentations, and I talk about, and you did them. You should do my profile presentations,
Yeah.
and it's all about being confident in speaking, being able to walk in a room and introduce yourself, learning how to sell yourself, learning how to build that network. Because, and we'll talk about your internships in a second because you can be a great student and have a great GPA. But in order to find these jobs that you have these dreams of finding, you have to be able to put your name out there. So talk about those skills that you learned on top of being a great student because, and I know joining Kappa Alpha Psi was part of that as well. We'll talk about the MPAC, but why is it so important to learn to make a name for yourself and build that network? So they always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. I always take it one step farther. It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yeah. Yeah. The thought process I had going to Mississippi State was that my name is my brand. So like any other company brand, like the profile we used to do in your class, like just my name was my brand. So I wanted to like make that known and get that out there once I got to the school. So like once I got to Mississippi State, I hit the ground running with trying to join organizations and meet new people and learn about the campus because like you said, it's who you is not what you know, it's who you know when you get there. Especially like we're getting in different organizations and networking. So yeah.
Yeah, and and I always tell them find something to be a part of.
Yeah.
I have several here that are interested in MPHC. Some aren't, but that's fine. You need to be in a. I know you remember a NESBA, which is a or NESB, which is a
Yeah.
great student organization
Great student
at
organization.
PWIs and HBCUs, which is the National Society of Black Engineers. Find things in your major. There's all types of opportunities there. And then I have several here with me that want to be MPHC organizations. I know you're a
Okay.
proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi.
Yeah.
Coach Scott's kind of shaking his head a little bit because he's a Q dog, but Omega Psi Phi, another great organization.
Yeah.
And, everybody sees the strutting and strolling and step shows and all that's so much fun. It's a great time, but there is so much involved in that. There is
Yeah.
academics that are involved. You have to get recommendation letters. So it is a very selective process that has very strict standards and a lot of community service that is done before you ever join the organization. So talk about that process and what really goes into these organizations because it's not just wearing the letters and dancing.
Yeah. Yeah. First thing I want to say, like, if you got aspirations of being an NPAC, don't go in there thinking about what the organization could do for you. You should go in there with the mindset of what can I do for this organization to make this organization better. Because if you go there thinking about what you can do for this, like what the organization do for you, you can get lost in the sauce of like of damn or just thinking about it's just about scrolling and other things. So just going in there with that mindset that you're willing to work because it's not like an organization where like it's all about the scrolling and stuff, but it's a lot more that goes into these organizations. I know that y'all see on TikTok it's a different trend or something with like the different organizations, and I know people get caught up with that. But like outside of that, it's really a business. Like it's taxes. Like you were gonna be a college student trying to file taxes for a big organization or handle tax information for your org. And like you're gonna have to like develop this business mindset when going into these different organizations. So if you were going in there with the mindset of what can this organization do for me, only then it's not gonna be like a pleasant experience because you're gonna face the backlash of like all the work that you have to put into it. And if you go in there with the mindset that I'm finna have to work for it, like once the work comes, it'll be smooth along with the other stuff that people see and enjoy, which is the scrolling.
Absolutely, and I just because I've had a few in here say they want to join whatever organization, and that's fine. But it really is important to understand what goes into it. Now,
Yeah,
I know before you got to your current position in Nashville, you had a couple of internships that were part of your major, which goes back to the student organizations. And I always say that those are just as important in college as the grades because you can have a 4.0, but if you haven't gotten experience to put on your resume, if you haven't made connections in the industry, you're going to find yourself locked out of a lot of these opportunities.
yeah,
So I know you did one at General Electric, and now at your current company as an aviation engineer, which is or aeronautic engineer. I'm
yeah,
sorry, aeronautic engineer, which is super cool. And not, now, obviously, everybody doesn't have the intellect to be an aeronautic engineer, me included. But uh, but getting involved in whatever major you're in and doing these internships. You know, we got the sister of our friend Sky Thompson here who did an internship in Ireland, which led to all types of experience and opportunities for her. So talk about those two internships you did, and then one of them wound up hiring you in a full-time position.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, internships is the best thing like to do in college. I know like you have aspirations of joining like NPAC organizations and everything, but like the highlight of your college experience should be trying to find an internship. And like finding those internships was like very helpful for me in acquiring the job that I have now. I forgot like I didn't do like a formal introduction, but yeah, I majored in aerospace engineering at Mississippi State, and I was able to do internship at GE, which is a top company. There I was making like refrigerators that would cost like $20,000 a refrigerator, and they look like when you build it, it look like it sits into the cabinet. So just like having that mindset of like going out and get those internships will help as well. And the second internship I did was at a Kimley Horn, and I currently work for them now, and it's a Fortune 100 company. So just like having that mindset that dang, I work for a Fortune 100 company, but I wouldn't have been able to work for this company if I didn't put myself out there and apply for internships and go to the career day or the career fairs. I know like y'all have one at high school right now, so this
Yeah,
way it
we had
starts.
it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, this where it starts at. Just like showing up there and just like seeing what it's all about. It's like how you get your name out there and make a connection. Like you can just be walking around to the different tables and then you can talk to someone, and then tell them about what you want to do. And they might not be able to help you, but they know somebody else that's in the field that can point you into the right direction. And that's how I really landed my internships. I was just talking. I was going through the different tables and seeing what the company was about because the first internship I did was at GE. They make refrigerators, and I major in aerospace. That has nothing to do with each other. But like I showed them that I had a willingness to work, and they saw my work ethic through like my major, and they said that I can apply that work ethic anywhere. The main thing is like they just want to see that you're able to work because like you the thing that you learn in college is I'm learning this stuff, but it's basically really to weed out like the people because like once you get in there, everything on the job will be taught to you basically. So they just want to see like are you able to work? What are you doing in your studies? Because what you're doing in your studies show them how you're gonna apply that to that work ethic to the job. So just like having that mindset as well. That's how I was able to acquire that internship at GE because like building refrigerator had nothing to do with aeronautics, but I went into that interview showing them that hey, I'm willing to work, and I see that this is a top company, whether it's aeronautics or not, and I just want to show this company that I can work. And then that applied to me getting my second internship. They say, hey, you was able to work at GE doing refrigerators, so I know something that's pertaining to your major, you will definitely excel at. And now I'm working for a Fortune 100 company, so
Wow.
it's been a blessing.
Now, something I forgot to mention is we mentioned that you played all the sports here at Velma Jackson. You actually went on some recruiting visits as a football recruit,
Yeah,
and you made the decision that you did not want to play college sports, even though
yeah,
you had the ability to. You decided to focus on academics, which I always tell students it's about having options. So even though you could have, and I saw you play, you were good enough to play at some of the small colleges. You decided to not do that because it was a couple of things. One, you saw that you wanted to focus on getting that career full time, long term, but you also saw the type of commitment it was going to take, and you thought that was going to get in the way. So, as somebody that went on a recruiting visit and kind of saw what was going to be required, why is that something that kids need to be aware of? Because we've had so many students say, "Well, I'm going to get a scholarship to play X, Y, Z," but they don't have any idea the commitment that it's going to take.
yeah. Yeah, so I knew that going into like college, I knew that I wanted to be an engineer. Like from the TSA competition that me and Quinn, who also went to Mississippi State and also did engineering, I knew that like the competition that we did, we always excelled in those competitions. They were engineering type competitions, so I knew that I always wanted to be an engineer. And like going into college, everywhere that I went to visit, they were like, if you want to do engineering, I don't think sports would be the best thing for you because like engineering is like having workouts for sports is like and studying for engineers is like the same thing. It's just different mindset. But yeah, so I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to. Well, I knew that I could if I did, but it was gonna be very, very, very challenging to balance being an engineer and do sports as well. Because even when you get to Mississippi State, you 99.9% of the chance you're not gonna see an athlete in engineering. And if you do, they are definitely going to recommend that you do not do that because man, you got to be realistic with yourself. Like, it's not time to like. I know you have a dream of doing something, but like at the end of the day, you still have to be realistic with yourself as well to accomplish those dreams and keep the main focus. So, going into college, I knew that I really wanted to do engineering. And I knew that sports was not going to be able to balance out with the studies that came with engineering because the class schedule for engineering is pretty tough. You take
Yeah. Now,
calculus 1 through 4, and then you gotta take other maths. Like I took so many maths that I could have minored in math coming out of Mississippi State. Yeah, I only
wow.
needed one more math to have a minor in math. That's how much math I took for engineering, and I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to balance that as well as sports.
Wow. Well, they've started handing me some questions, but one thing I wanted to talk about before that is, obviously at a big place like Mississippi State, you've got to learn to work with all kind of people from all over the world, all types of backgrounds. And you mentioned about Velma Jackson being the small family atmosphere, which is great. But these kids have been around the same people for the last 13 years. They're getting
Yeah,
ready to go to a new environment. They're going to have to work with people that necessarily may not have been raised the way they were, that don't look like they do, that may not have spoken the same languages, that aren't even from the United
yeah,
States. So, talk about the importance of learning to be diverse in your relationships, because at the end of the day, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but you have to learn to work with everybody, especially in the engineering field. So, talk about the importance of that at a place like Mississippi State.
yeah. Yeah, so me being from small town, Farm Haven, once I got to Mississippi State and people like heard my accent, they could tell that I was like really from small town. Everybody that I met, like in aerospace, they were like, "Man, you got an accent." And I was like, "Yeah," but but with that though, you have to develop a sense of professionalism. Like once you get into those spaces and like going into these big schools, because like everybody's not gonna have the same wasn't everybody's not gonna be raised the same as you. Like you said, everybody's not gonna speak the same language or come from the same background. But if you all have that sense of professionalism for your major or whatever organization that you're in, the bond is gonna be there to work on different group projects or research or just getting work done in these organizations. If you keep the main focus of whatever you're doing within within the classroom or those projects or just specifically your major, it's gonna work out well if you just keep that sense of professionalism. Don't go in there trying to like bolster yourself over them. Coming there with a humble mindset that you may not know everything and they not gonna know everything. Even sometimes your professor might not know everything, but just having that sense of humbleness as well to go in with an open mindset and to take on new ideas from other people and also be firm to like persuade your ideas or your feedback to them as well. That's gonna gain you respect and also that's gonna help you like divert into these new spaces.
Awesome. Well, I do have some great questions they've handed me. And this first one is Donovan Smith, brother of your old football teammate Gradarian Smith. He is Mr. VJ, just signed to play football at Hines, but he's also an excellent student like you were. And he asked, "What made you choose this area of engineering to go into, and what about Mississippi State stood out to you?"
Oh yeah. So Mississippi, once when I was going into school, I looked up like the top aerospace engineering colleges, and I saw that I had one right here in Mississippi, and that's Mississippi State. So that stuck out to me as well. And then when you get to college, you figure out like saving money for tuition and stuff is the best thing, and in-state tuition is also the best thing that you can strive for. So I wanted to go to Tuskegee for aerospace, but like out of state tuition versus in state tuition is a whole lot. It's a whole different ball game when trying to like get stuff paid for and get scholarships. Get scholarships for school. And what made me choose aerospace was just like I always had like a love for planes. My mom used to work near the airport when I was younger, so I always been around planes. And just like having that mindset to go in that it's basically like taking a chance on something for real. And I took a
Wow,
chance on it doing my intro classes, I was like, that's where you really decide like, was this for me? Is this for me or not? And I enjoyed the intro classes for intro to aerospace, and I decided then that yeah, I chose the right practice.
that's awesome. This is Jaden Thompson, and he asked, "What made you?" When you kind of talked about this, but he asked about if Mississippi State was the right college for you, and did you have any ideas of anything else you wanted to major in?
Yeah. So initially, I wanted to be a neurologist, so I was gonna go to school for neuroscience. But like, I knew that med school was not gonna be it because like med school is like tougher than engineering and I knew I was like once I did my 4 years I wanted to go right into the workforce and engineering allowed me to do that because I have a fiance right now that's in vet school and like seeing her work ethic and like and schedule is like crazy because like going to any type of med school like they on a strict schedule to teach you how to save somebody's life or save somebody animal life in 4 years, so that means you're having a test every day or you're having something and you going through like full concepts in the whole day. So I knew that that wasn't going to be for me, and I wanted to go right into the workforce after school, and engineering
Awesome.
allowed me to do that.
All right, this is an interesting question. This is Kaylee Luckett. She's one of our cheerleaders, and she asked, "Do you think if you'd have gone to a bigger high school, you would have gotten the same amount of resources that you got here?"
Um, yes, in some way because like going to college, I saw that some students were exposed to way more than I was was exposed to way more in high school than I was at because like some kids had already started taking engineering classes in high school. When they was exposed to like engineering organizations and exposed to the major coming out of high school. So yeah, I feel like going to those bigger high schools and in bigger states kind of places them somewhat at an advantage, but still like you got to still have the mindset that I'm meant to be here as well. Even though that somebody may have more experience than you coming out of high school. So that was my
Yeah, and
mind.
I know I have seniors with me here now. Actually, I have one not here with me because he's in our engineering program at MCTC. So he's getting some of the engineering experience now. So when we show this letter to some of our underclassmen, that's a program they need to consider. They can get some engineering terminology in high school and then really have a leg up when they get to college.
Mhm.
All right, I got Morgan Thompson here, our Miss VJ, one of our volleyball and basketball players, sister of our friend Skyline Thompson. And she asked, "What was the biggest struggle for you when you transitioned from Mississippi to Nashville?"
Oh man, the lifestyle. Like I tell anybody, they be like, I'm ready to get away from Mississippi. That like once you really do get away from Mississippi, you see like the lifestyle is way faster and the cost of living is so much expensive. Um, it's way more expensive. Like what you can do with funds in Mississippi, you can. It's like you can do less with in Nashville. That's what I'm gonna say. Cause like, I was able to buy a house, be a first time home buyer, recently,
Wow.
and like just seeing like their experience. I was looking at houses in Mississippi, like compared to what I had to buy in Nashville, like the price range of what you can get in Mississippi versus what you can get in Nashville, like crazy different. So like moving to those big cities, like there's more opportunity, but like the cost of living is way much higher in this the fast paced city life is there as well.
Yeah, and we're actually having a realtor come Tuesday. They're going to be here in person with a mortgage lender to talk about that process
Yeah,
because that's one thing I wish we could have talked about more is that home buying process. Because no matter where you go, it's going to be similar. I know there's laws in different states with that, but that's something that I think everybody needs to be more familiar with as they
yeah,
graduate high school. And I'm glad you mentioned that.
yeah.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely think that you everyone like being a senior should place like financial literacy and home buying like terms, like get familiar with those terms because I feel like that's what we not really taught really that in depth in high school or in college as well. Like if you don't major in finance or anything, you're not really gonna be taught those concepts. So I think that everybody should just try on their own to get like up to speed with financial literacy and saving and investing in like home ownership on their own time.
Awesome. Well, I got two more. This is Kiana May, member of our band here. And she asked, what is the proudest accomplishment you've had since graduating from Velma Jackson?
Um, I'll say just landing that first job offer that was big for me. Like you finally see like all your hard work from high school to college like finally coming to fruition. And like for me to be like a Fortune 100 company, I never like coming out of MJX, I didn't even know what a Fortune 100 company was or was even had my mind set on a Fortune 100 company. But like getting that first job offer and having them accept me so well and it was exactly what I wanted, like with benefits. Like, also, you should learn about benefits as well. That's another thing you should learn going into school. But it's just like having that experience go so well. Like, that was a big accomplishment for me. Like, cause I felt like everything that I had worked on paid off.
That's awesome. I got one more. This is Caitlin McGee. And she asked, what is the favorite part of your job you have now?
Being the job I have now is very diverse. Like, it is diverse. Like, as you see now, I'm working from home right now. And the company really allowed that diversity. I know considering that we're snowed in, but still on a regular basis we get like one day at home to work, one day a week at home to work for work. So just like having that diversity in the job, um, having that, and the job has a very good sense of belonging as well. Like me being a minority in the workspace, especially with engineering and aerospace engineering, is very few minorities. So like just have that the company highlights that and like bring that they want me here and I feel accepted is also like what makes this company work with me.
That's awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for joining us. But a couple things before we go. You were walking these same halls with a lot of these same teachers, growing up in the same community, sitting in these same seats. But yet here you are, just 6 years later, in a big city with a Fortune 100 company as your employer. And you just said yourself, look, when I was at Velma Jackson, I didn't think it could happen for me either. And obviously, it can be done. So as these kids get ready to start making decisions, a lot of them have already made decisions of where they're going to school next year. And things are going to start happening fast because look, I always say the biggest transition a person faces is that transition from high school to your
Yeah.
next step, whatever that next step is. So it's going to come at them fast and they've got to be ready for it. So, but obviously they can still be very successful because I've got a lot of intellect in here. I've got a lot of talent in here. Just a matter of being prepared. So as those transitions start coming, what can they do to prepare themselves to be ready and be just as successful as people like you and Quentin and some other people you mentioned?
Um, First thing, stay rooted in like whatever your faith is, whatever you believe in, stay rooted in that. Keep that first. And then everything else will kind of work itself out. And also, whatever you got your mindset on doing it, do it. I know sometimes that people may place doubts on you or try to steer you in another direction. If you really feel like that is what you want to do in life, what is you have some aspiration outside of college or something like it, because college may not be for everybody. So you have some aspiration outside of college or whatever you want to achieve in life through college. Just make sure you actually go out to achieve that. And like if you really feel strongly about strongly that you can achieve it, go after it. Don't let nobody deter you because like me majoring in aerospace was like it was a nuance. I haven't didn't hear anybody else or have heard of anybody else that I knew growing up saying, "Hey, I major in aerospace." So I had to have a really good mindset to like push through with that, especially like once I got into the classes and seeing like how difficult it was because people will try to deter you or try to place doubts on you, but you guys got to keep that mindset that, hey, I'm here for a reason. I'm gonna accomplish my goals, and then I want to reap the benefits of my accomplishments.
Awesome. Well, I know I speak for so many people when I say we are so proud to call you an alum. It's just amazing seeing all the things you do. But you're a perfect example of it doesn't matter where you start. It is all about where you take yourself on the journey and where you finish. And I know your finish is way down the line, just so much more to accomplish. But I know you got to get back to work. And we thank you so much for finding some time for us. My man, Justin Kelly, valedictorian of the Velma Jackson class of 2019, member of the Velma Jackson Hall of Fame. We thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
I talk to you soon, buddy.
I'll talk to you.